बोलो सियापति रामचंद्र की जय शरणम. Namaste devotees. This evening we are here once more to join in beautiful katha as we will engage into listening and understanding the beautiful verses of the Sri Hanuman Chalisa as we continue with those glorious verses this week, just like we do every week. We join as we chant the glorious verses of Sri Hanuman Chalisa with faith, with love and devotion. Sri Guru Charan Saroj Raja Nij Man Mukur Sudhar Barnau Raghuvar Vimalesha Jodayak Palchari Bulhin Tanu Janiki Sumyau Pavan Kumar Balbudi Vidya Dehu Mohi Harhu Kalesha Vikar. So devotees, this week we actually have some copies lined up there for you all. As I told you all, we will get it prepared. Thanks to Jennifer G and Entourage for making this possible for us. So these copies will remain in the mandir, but on a weekly basis they'll be passed out so that everybody can follow along as we chant Hanuman Chalisa. You can follow along and chant as well, right?
I just I know what to break. That's what you were saying, but I know what to break, so I can always cut this. It looks like a boss.
Jai Ram, Sri Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai Jai Ram.
बोलो सियापति रामचंद्र की जय, पवन पुत्र हनुमान की जय. As we continue today with the explanation of Sri Hanuman Chalisa, last day we stopped at Anjani Putra Pavanasuta Nama, and we learned about Hanumanji representing the different subtle bodies and all of these different things, right? The breath body, the mental body, the intelligence body, all of these different things, right? Nevertheless, as we progress forward, we're going on to the next verse. Mahavir, next line says, Mahavir Vikram Bajrangi. We'll have to take this one at a time, right? So, first of all, Mahavir. Veer means one who is brave or bravery, right? Mahavir, Maha means great, right? So Mahavir means one who is very, very brave or possesses various types of bravery, because there are various types, right? To be considered as Mahavir, you must possess the 5 most significant forms of bravery, which we will break down and understand. When talking about this word Mahavir, or we say Mahavir, you know, in today's world that we live, if you all pay close attention, you'll notice when we pronounce these words, what do we do with it? We have given ourselves names after God, but we have tweaked and turned and twisted the words so much until it says something totally different. So the word Mahavir has now become Mahabir, as in the title that someone carries. It's the same thing, same spelling, wrong pronunciation. How do we let it reach so far? You know why? When someone pronounces our name sometimes, we know how our name is supposed to sound. I've experienced this many times. We do not ever correct them. Because sometimes we ourselves don't know the correct pronunciation. Well, it sounds like that, so we leave it as that. And over and over people start repeating it over a period of time. And it gets stuck with that same pronunciation. Right? Long ago, hopefully now some individuals as well, when they name their children and stuff, they will give very powerful, very meaningful, valuable names to their children. Like Ram and Amrit. You know? But instead of saying that, sometimes we say Amrit. Amrit means nectar. Devotees, it starts with us. If we don't try to practice speaking the words correctly, then what do we leave for anybody else? They say, well, when we went to register the birth paper, the nurse couldn't pronounce it and she said it differently. Now we pronounce it just like that. Spelling and thing is a little bit okay, but pronunciation is very, very important, right? So Mahavir, right? An individual who possesses the 5 different types of bravery, they are referred to as Mahavir. So that is Hanumanji. He is called Mahavir because he possesses those 5 various types of bravery. The first one, right? According to Hindu philosophy, there are these 5 types, right? Number 1, Ranveer. Ranveer is bravery in battle. Now, we might not be fighting wars and all these different things. So you'll say, well, Baba, how can I develop Ranveer? How can I develop bravery in battle? This life that you're living upon the face of the earth is just like that battlefield of Kurukshetra. You just have to put it into context and put it into perspective. Every single day we are faced with different types of challenges and different types of battles. Obstacles, some people call them challenges, some people call them opportunities. You have to decide whether you have obstacles in your path or you have opportunities for growth. These obstacles are the battles that you are facing, the challenges, the difficulties that you have in front of you. Are you brave when it comes to those obstacles and challenges? Do you feel brave, or do you feel doubtful and worried and frightful? You're scared, you want to run away. Little obstacle comes in your life and you start to run and, oh God, I don't know what to do, and I don't know where to go, and who will help me, I don't know. Huh? That is what happens to us sometimes, not so. When situations present themselves in front of you, before getting worried, you must take a moment to understand what the situation is. Figure out, can I overcome this? Can I triumph this? Can I have victory over this? Or can I not? If you can, figure it out and don't worry. If you cannot, and there's nothing at all in the world that you can do about it, then why are you worried? In either case, there is no room and no reason for worry. But what happens to us, that bravery is not there. That faith, that belief is not there. I surrender to God and I leave it in His hands, and I know that if this is happening to me right now, that it is because I have somehow brought this to myself through my actions. And this is for my growth. Nothing in this world happens for a bad reason. Always remember that. Everything that happens, it happens for a reason. Nothing happens by guess. But every single thing that happens for a good reason. You may not be able to understand it at that point in time, or see it, or reason with it, because you may not be in a calm, subtle state of mind. But if you take the time to relax and observe that situation, you will be able to see that the solution to the problem is right within the problem itself. The problem comes, the obstacle comes. I don't know how to fix this, I don't know what to do, I don't know where to go from here. You start creating the doubt in your mind. The doubt doesn't just appear, you create it. You create more difficulty for yourself that was presented to you in the first place. So the next time a challenge comes in front of you, the next time you see an obstacle or whatever you want to call it, do not run, do not hide, do not become afraid. You are divinity expressing itself. What are you fearful of? Instead, vichar kari. That's what Hanumanji would have done. Think. When a Rakshas comes in front of him, Hanumanji don't just run and muknar, left, right, and center. No. Hanumanji thinks. He analyzes. How best can I deal with this situation? Not so? How best can I deal with this situation? Should I take a small form and avoid the confrontation? Not because I'm afraid, but because I know that I have the power to overcome the situation, but I do not want to create any disturbance. I want to handle this peacefully. Like when he met Lankani at the gateway of Lanka. Hanumanji could have just rushed in there, one mukdar, Ram Nam, Satya hai. But no. Instead he said, let me take a small form and let me sneak past Lankani. Only when Lankani attacked Hanumanji, then he reciprocated. Accordingly, one satsang Lankani got done. Hey Prabhu, I didn't know it's you. One time, one satsang when Hanumanji does it, all the doubts and the negativity and everything clear. If you are chanting the name of Hanumanji, if you are chanting the name of God in whichever form, every day of your life, you're continuously chanting, God is your companion.
ओ जिसका साथी है भगवान उसको क्या रोकेगा आंधी और तूफान.
जिसका साथी है भगवान, who has God as his companion, उसको क्या रोकेगा? Who will stop him? आंधी और तूफान. There are two words, eh? There's andhi and there's andhi, eh? There's two different words, right? There's something to know, a little general knowledge for you one time, right? Andhi means blind, the feminine form, and then andhi means like a storm, right? So andhi, tufan, like storm, hurricane, that kind of thing, right? Not even a storm, hurricane can come near or touch
or interfere with that individual who has God as his companion. But we will sing and chant, Jai Ram, Sri Ram, Jai Jai Ram, oh Jai Bhagwan, I love you Bhagwan. And then when the obstacle, oh Bhagwan, Bapre, Bapre. We will chant with faith, love and devotion in the mandir. When you're home, you play the radio all over, you will chant and thing, you know. And when the difficulty comes, you let that overpower you, the individual who has God as their companion, who is an expression of God himself. Because you are divinity, you are God expressing himself in human form. What is too difficult for you upon the face of the earth? Who created the iPhone? And the Samsung and all that? Man, not so. Right? Who created flying objects, planes and all of that? Way back to the days of the scriptures, there were vimanas, flying chariots and all of that. All of these things existed way back when and it exists now. Who created it? Man created it. Who created the chairs and the dholak and the harmonium and all of the different things we use? Who created it? Man, but when I say man, I want you to understand. God expressing himself in human form created it. So we waited for Brahmaji. Brahmaji just create, oh he go create this and you create. No, 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 no. You wanted to build something, you saw it, you visualized in your mind, and you went out and you created it. You have that power within you. Brahmaji is right here in the form of the Brahm, the mind. Right? So God is right here. Nothing in this world is too difficult for you. So the first type of Veer, run Veer, bravery in battle. In your daily life, you face many battles. You have the ability, I'm telling you now that you have the ability to overcome it. So that's the first type of bravery that one can possess. The second one is Daya Veer. Daya is really like mercy, right? But Daya Veer is to be compassionate, the ability to forgive. Sounds strange. Do you know you have to be brave to forgive? Do you know you have to be brave to be compassionate? Yes, we know that well, I'm sure. Not so? It is not an easy thing to confront someone and show compassion. And to either ask for forgiveness or give forgiveness. But I always say in this world, devotees, for myself I always say, I am never too big to ask for forgiveness. I am never too big to forgive somebody. Never. You cannot be preaching the name of the Lord, with chanting the name of the Lord again, and then you go out in the world and you feel hard to forgive someone. You feel hard, you find it difficult to be compassionate, to show love. Right? It's not that you're feeling sorry for anybody. Right? It's not that you're feeling sorry for anybody, but that you understand that the greater good will come from you being compassionate. The greater good will come from you being forgiving and loving and caring. Nobody is perfect in this world. Not so. It is to move forward. It is to grow. It is to elevate. That is our goal. Bhagwan never said your goal is perfection. Even moksha, salvation, is not called perfection. It is called self-realization. Realization of thyself, right? So, Dayavir, the bravery to forgive and to be compassionate. Are we compassionate to our fellow brothers and sisters, our family members, our friends? Are we compassionate devotees? Are we loving? That's not for me to decide, that's for you to decide. I can decide that only for myself. You have to decide that for yourself. Think about it, right? The third type of Veer, we have Dan Veer. The bravery to give freely in charity. Kya baat hai? Everybody will grab on their pockets now when they hear this one. Say Dan Veer, the ability to give freely, the bravery to give freely in charity. Yes, you have to be brave to do that. There are many people, they will fill their pockets, but they will never share with anyone else. Do you know that? Have you experienced that before? Yes, I have seen. We all end up in these situations sometimes. Not anymore, I can tell you for sure. When you have, you must give. I've mentioned this previously, sometime before. You want to experience abundance in your life. Everybody wants abundance, right? We want wealth. We want abundance of happiness and peace and joy and all of these things in our life. But the question is, do we give it first? Do we take the time to give it to somebody else? No, we say, I want. People should give freely to me. No devotees. I never ever say that. It starts with me. I can't wait on you to give. I have to be willing to give first. That's how it works. I learned something a while back and I tried it and it works, trust me. Happened with me just a couple of days ago in Satsang as well. I can't get into the details. It's really amazing. Sometimes you need something and just by giving first without thinking, you get so much more in return. You get so much more in return. I learned a while back that in life you give when you don't have a lot, when you don't have a lot. When you give, when you don't even have a lot, you know what is going to happen? God, the universe, is going to say, okay, I have given this much to my child, and he appreciates it, she appreciates it, right? She is grateful or he is grateful for it. Let me give a little bit more. I always use the comparison, it's like having a friend. You have this very close friend of yours, but here's what. You're only looking for this friend anytime you need something. You're only looking for this friend anytime you need something. You think that friend won't want to see you very often? Of course not. Right? Of course not. I might be the only person. Every time you want something, you can look for me and I'll show up. No worries. That's part of my duty, right? I don't really have a choice in that matter. Nevertheless, right? Would you feel comfortable having that person around all the time? No. Of course not. You will not want to see that person. You will hide from that person. Right? So how it is, God has blessed us with life and health and strength and food and clothing and a home and all of that. Right? We have all of that. But you know when we look for God? Only when we want more. Only when we want something. Bhagwan, if I tell you, boy, today I pray, every day I pray. Let me win the lotto now. So long I'm asking you. Hey, look at the nice Benz with Baba. Let me get one too now. I prayed every day. I charahawin and jagawin mantra and offering this, offering that, offering coconut, laddu, wrote everything you could think about and me again yet. What prayer he doing? That is how we look at situations sometimes. The Maya gets into our mind and it deludes us, it confuses us. And we stray from righteous duty, from our dharma. Right? You have to give first without even seeking or even wanting in return. You have $5, somebody needs, you can give $1 if you can't give the 5. Right? I don't have much, but by the grace of God, I'm grateful that I have enough. And if someone seeks and I have, I give. I do not hesitate. I don't wait for them to give me first. It doesn't work like that. Right? So I want you to take that into consideration. Do you take the time to give freely in charity? The mandir. Yes, it runs with energy because everything is energy. Before somebody throw that towards me, right? Because they know I always talk about that, right? Yes, it works with energy and vibration, we know that. But the energy and vibration needed to run it is called money. The mandirs, the churches, the masjids, all of these holy places. Right? We must take the time to devote to that. Right? I'll be very honest with you. I have a specific envelope in which I put money in dedicated just specifically for service. I don't ask for money for service. Rather, I give. That's a little secret. I'm not saying it out of pride, but I'm saying it because that is essential and I know the power of it. That is very, very essential. Right? You give, and then Bhagwan will keep providing. And there's not a day I will run out of food. There's not a day I will not have a place to sleep. Why? Because God is responsible for that. And I'm super, super grateful for that. How do you show your appreciation? There are people that are hungry. When last did you take the time to make some food? If you can't buy it, you cook some food and you feed someone. You go to a home, there are many homes in Trinidad. There are orphanages. Right? Think about it for a second. We take care of our home, we take care of our family. But when last have we thought about taking care of someone else? There are animal shelters and all these things all over. When last did we take the time to go there and serve? Right? Volunteer in some way, contribute in some way. When the Mandir has service and all of these different things, right? Do we take the time to volunteer to be here? To make ourselves present? The preparation of the food, putting things in place, making of the prasad, laying out of the bedi and all of these different things. Those hands are blessed. Those that take the time and make the effort to do that over and over and over. And that in itself is being brave devotees. Danveer, right? The bravery of giving freely. It doesn't have to be money alone, right? Your time, your energy, your effort, all of that. Right? The fourth one we have is Dharmaveer. Wow. The bravery to stay steadfast on the path of righteousness. So Baba, I didn't know really that is a type of bravery. Yes, it is. How easy it is to stray and go into the unrighteous path, the adharmic path. How easy is it? Think about that, and then think about how difficult now it is to stay on the righteous path. It is very, very simple and very easy to stray onto the unrighteous path, to do negative things. Things that will not bring any benefit to you or anyone else. But it is very, very difficult to stay steadfast. Now, what am I saying? That might sound strange. It is very difficult for the one that does not want to stay steadfast on that path of righteousness. For the one that wants to stay on that path of righteousness, it's not difficult at all. It is not difficult. What does it take? A decision. It takes a choice. And who has the power to make that choice? Or make that decision? You have the power to do that. I have the power to do that. If I choose to do something that is wrong, that is a choice. I will face the consequences. If I choose to do something good, that is for my benefit and the benefit of others, I have chosen to not do that, I will face the consequences of that as well. Ties into karma, right? Karma means your actions. You have punya and pap, right? Two types of karma basically. That's how they classify it, right? In simple terms. Punya is all the righteous actions you can perform, and then pap is all the sinful actions they will see, right? But what really is a sin and what really is a righteous action? That's the question. If we transcend the dualities in this world of good and bad and hot and cold and tall and short, wet and dry, all of these things, we come out of that cycle and we rise above that, you will only be able to do the things that you choose to do. And for you, what may seem as good may not seem good to someone else. For you, what may seem as bad may not seem as bad to someone else. So what is really right and wrong? When the bad person stands in front of God according to our eyes, when the good person stands in front of God in our eyes, right? The good person, the bad person. Who does God treat better? Putting everybody to think now. When Tulsidas wrote Ramayana, he said, Sri Ram Pratamanas, Siya Ram mein sab jag jani, karo pranam jori jagapani. When I look at your entire creation, Bhagwan, animate and inanimate, I see and I bow in reverence to you because you are present in everything and everyone. If everybody is an expression of God, then who is good and who is bad? That in itself is going to take a lot of time to explain. The information is there, we'll get to that one day. Right? But that is very, very deep stuff and you have to have a very open mind to be able to understand that. When any one of the avatars walk the earth, anybody will stand in front of them, they will be given a fair chance. They will be given a fair chance. Most of the great people that you can think about in all of the scriptures, they were bad before they became great. Take the time to understand it. They were bad before they became great. We all start from somewhere. Right?
Bolo Siyapati Ramachandra ki jai. So Dharmavir, the bravery to stay steadfast in the path of righteousness. Then we have the fifth and final type of Veer, that is Tyag Veer. Now if you notice, Tyag means sacrifice basically, right? To renounce, right? So renouncing objects that we possess, right? So physical things that we have. You do not get too attached to things that you have. Today, tomorrow something happens, today something happens, to this we are not too attached to it. The truth is we do get attached, human nature, we will get attached a little bit. But we have to try to reach into that space where no matter what happens, we know that it happens for a reason. If you notice something here, all of these different types of veer, they happen at different stages, at different levels, right? So it's like you transcending a path or climbing a ladder. You start with run veer, bravery in battle, facing daily challenges and all of these things. They are veer, the bravery to forgive and be compassionate. After the battles, you have to have the ability to forgive. When conflict comes, you have to have the ability to forgive, right? Then dan veer. After all of that, you'll reach into that state where you understand the power of giving. It's not always about winning, it's not always about having, but you have to also give, right? Surrender and all of these things. Dharmavir, after understanding all of that now, you move into that space where you understand you should be steadfast on the path of righteousness. And then finally you have Tyagvir, where you go into that state where you now renounce possessed objects and all of that. When you have things in life, you know, you have clothes, you have a lot of clothes, you have, I don't know, shoes, you have food, you have whatever the case may be. What do you do with it? Do you pack it up and do you just keep it, or do you share it? Some people, I'll tell you something, they cannot renounce the things that they have till thy kingdom come. The cow could jump over the moon and they will never renounce it. You ever seen someone before, they say, this is my house, this is my land. Nobody dare touch it. Time come to dead and gone, still at that point in time, nobody touch it, that's my one. If they want, let them fight for it. That's the mentality some people have. They have the beera. They don't want to sell it and distribute it. No. Let them fight for it when I go. I've heard that many times. That's the reality. What kind of mentality is that we are living with? We are so attached to things that we can't give it away. Sometimes I have so much stuff, clothes and all of these different things that I just have to take and pack. I will pack by the garbage bag and give away, not when it is old and worn out, but I give it when it is new. I do not give to someone else something that I will not wear or something that I will not use. That's a principle that I have. I give it when it is usable. Just like I would want it, I would want somebody to give me something. I give it just like that. Again, I am not great in any way. I am just like any one of you listening to this satsang. The change starts with us, devotees. The growth starts with us. So Mahavir, just like Hanumanji, you want to be Mahavir, you must possess the 5 types of Veer, right? So Ranveer, bravery in battle, just to recap. Dayaveer, bravery to forgive and be compassionate. Danveer, bravery to give freely in charity. Dharmaveer, the bravery to stay steadfast on the path of righteousness. And Tyagveer, the bravery to renounce possessed objects, right? So Mahavir, Vikram, Bajrangi. Vikram. What does Vikram mean? Vikram means one whose actions have been mighty. What sort of actions have Hanumanji performed? In the entire Leela of the Ramayana, what sort of great feats and all these things that we would consider as miracles Hanumanji performed? Carrying the mountain, destroying so many Rakshasas and all of that. Such a powerful and mighty individual. Right? Why? Because he had implicit faith in God. When you have implicit faith in God, nothing becomes impossible. Nothing is impossible. It might be highly improbable, but not impossible. You know why?
Because even the word impossible has I am possible. Well, I am possible, but you understand where I'm coming from. Yeah? I'm possible. You ever thought about that before? Even the word impossible has I possible. It is all about perspective. So, Mahavir Vikram, Vikram means one whose actions have been mighty. We have Bajrangi, right? Vajra means the thunderbolt. You all remember when Hanumanji was struck when he was flying up to swallow his son. Indradevata took his weapon and he struck Hanumanji with it. The weapon that he struck him with was the Vajra or the thunderbolt. Right? So Hanumanji became known as Bajrangi, that one who possesses a body as strong, as mighty, and as powerful as the thunderbolt. Like Indradevata is the god of rain, hence he carries the thunderbolt as his weapon, right? It kind of coincides basically if you think about it. So Mahavir Vikram Bajrangi. Devotees. As I wrap up that line there, in context, in the summary basically, if you want to see, we must understand that in order to serve Prabhu Shri Ram, one is required to have a strong, fit body, not just body, but mind and heart and all of that. Right? Regardless of whatever field you are in. You don't need to be in any specific field to have a strong mind, body, and heart. Right? That speaks about health. Maybe one day we'll speak about that by itself, right? Because that's very important. And it's something that in Hinduism, not around the world, mostly in Trinidad and Tobago, we don't talk about it at all. Right? Around the world, you see people practicing, right? When we go to the ashram, when we go to the Chinmaya ashram, it is practiced also. They are very particular about how they serve food and what they give you to drink and all of these different things, right? Very, very important. We eat anything, we drink anything, we do what we want, how we want, when we want. No discipline whatsoever. When we get unhealthy, when we get sick and all of these things, Baba, kya community kya make this thing happen and that thing happen. Now, sickness and stuff, should I say inevitable in a sense? It is something that you must go through. You must encounter pain, you must encounter difficulty. I'm not saying that. But one of the Vedas, we have Ayurveda, where it deals with specifically with medicine and health and all of these things. That comes from our philosophy, yet we are some of the most unhealthiest people that exist. Why? What do we eat when puja and satsang and stuff is done? We eat burst up shit. Burst up shit, right? Bust up shit. Say, Baba, that is paratha. Yeah? That's what we eat, right? Taponga oil and all kind of things, so right? Real put it in the side. And when the arteries clog up on it, I wonder why my arteries clog up. I don't want to do surgery to clean up the arteries. I'm very practical, you know that. I'm not saying that it can't happen to me also, it can happen to any one of us. Right? It can. But are you taking precautions, the precautions that are necessary? You can live a full life, a happy life, a comfortable life by taking certain precautions. One night I went to satsang, I said I wasn't eating the food. One individual, an old fella told me, he said, Baba, he said, well, if I go satsang and I ain't get some shut and chana and aloo and curry and rice and all that, I ain't eating and all them fancy things that is cooked now. I ain't eating. I say, Uncle, you gotta be careful, you'll get diabetes. And he say, I don't have that. I don't make up thing, eh? I'm telling you. I'm still eating it. Bapre. Ain't taking the time to walk one day when it's strong and healthy and good and fine. Ain't taking time to do all of these different things, right? When sickness and pain and difficulty come, 4 o'clock in the morning, oh God. Right, that is the time. I have to get up and I had a walk and I have to exercise and I'm drinking oats for breakfast. Kya baat hai? Those of you accustomed with me accustomed. Those who are not, well, welcome to my world. Health is very, very important. Can't eat 5 baga parsan or prasad, as the case may be, eat all that food. You ever take the time to walk with a plate when you're going to satsang and see if you could fit that same food you have on the leaf on the plate? I want you to test that out the next time you go to a satsang. Walk with one of your plates, eat food at home, right? Carry it. When you're done, take all the food in the leaf, take it and see if you can fit it on that plate. It will never fit. I want you to think about it for a second. Sometimes we don't take the time to understand that. We want everything now. We want it by the grub, yeah? Plenty. It has to start with us devotees. It starts with us. If we don't make a change, then nobody else will make a change. They say, well, Baba, it's prayers, and when you go, you have to get prayers food. Since when that become prayers food? Let me tell you, since when? Since our forefathers and our ancestors thought that should be prayers food. Any food that is blessed, obviously, we follow certain rules and regulations based on our spiritual practices with the Rajasic meals that will be partaken of after puja, meaning the salt food, which is vegetarian food, of course. But once that food is blessed, it becomes prayers food or blessed food. It didn't say it have to be rice and curry and chalala. Now, I'm not telling you to change your ways, that's fine. But take some precaution, at least, when you're doing it, right? And when Baba say, well, oh God, I don't want to eat that food today. I don't want to kill Baba and think now. I say, oh God, he come by my house and he would eat my food. Right? It starts with us, right? Each and every one of us. We need to make a change. For the younger ones, if you want to set a trend for them, they do not listen to what we say, they look at what we do. And they follow. If you are not being an example in society as a parent, as a leader, then what are we really doing? From the day I realized till now, until such time that I will continue to exist in this physical human form, I shall lead by example. I believe that is the duty of a leader, right? So, by keeping your mind healthy and your body and all of these different things, right? This increases discipline and effectiveness and also increases your influence. You want to set the right example, as I said, devotees, for your children and all of that. Then it starts with you, right? So Mahavira Vikram Bajrangi, you heard of some noble qualities that Hanumanji possesses. Hence the reason why he's given all of these wonderful names. With that being said, Katha 3 comes to an end. We have completed another 3 words in our Sri Hanuman Chalisa. We'll continue once again next week.
कुल जहाँ की नेमतें वो पा गया, कुल जहाँ की नेमतें वो पा गया, राम के चरणों में जो भी आ गया, राम के चरणों में जो भी के आ गया, उस जहाँ की नेमतें वो पा गया, उस जहाँ की नेमतें वो पा गया। राम का सुमिरन किया प्रहलाद ने, राम का सुमिरन किया प्रहलाद ने, कर्म फंदे से लिपट हर्षा गया, कर्म फंदे से लिपट हर्षा गया, कुल जहाँ की नेमतें वो पा गया, राम के चरणों में जो भी आ गया, बंदे तू भी नाम जप ले राम का, बंदे तू भी नाम जप ले राम का, कर गया जो भी शरण में आ गया, कर गया जो भी शरण में आ गया, कुल जहाँ की नेमतें वो पा गया, कुल जहाँ की नेमतें वो पा गया, राम के चरणों में जो भी आ गया, राम के चरणों में जो भी आ गया, राम के चरणों